Delighted. Jeanne Frances Welch was born in Kansas City, Missouri to a third-generation Irish mother and father of a, I'm going to mispronounce this, Potawatomi Indian descent. A father of Potawatomi Indian descent and a distant relative of the Dalton Brothers gang in Kansas. Wow. Being the sixth of seven children in a large Catholic family, it was quite the active household. After finishing her education, Jeanne worked in the escrow and title field for more than 10 years. She relocated to the West Coast, where she pursued a career in the up-and-coming fitness field. Which is obvious. She and her husband owned tennis clubs on both coasts, started new business ventures in Switzerland, China, and various cities across the United States. In 1990, while on a Tahoe vacation, they decided to make Incline Village their home. Her husband continued his ventures in China and eventually decided to make it his permanent home, while Jeanne continued to live and work in Incline Village. She returned to the title business and joined First Centennial Title and then on to a mortgage company. In her spare time, she was pursuing her passion and talent for staging homes. In 2008, Jeanne started Tahoe Home Transformations, a home staging business which continues to grow and expand in the Lake Tahoe area. In January 2015, Jeanne joined First Centennial Title as a marketing representative. She continued to network her relationship with local realtors, keeping them up to date on the ever-changing rules and regulations of the title industry. Jeanne is currently an affiliate member of the Incline Village Board of Realtors and an active member of the Tahoe Business Exchange. Her leisure time is spent hiking the trails of the Tahoe region, and she enjoys attending smooth jazz concerts.
I don't know if that's according to
like
but it's the history over the last few years.
When do you have time to hike?
Well, Jim is working on that for me, helping me find that time again. Anyway, today I would like to, first let me just say, escrow and title are very long and complicated, and today I want to take you through just a simple part at the very beginning of that whole process, which is a preliminary title report. So I'm going to be giving you each a copy of a preliminary title report, and we're just going to walk through that. We have a couple very experienced realtors here that know this probably forwards and backwards.
We can give it out for you.
Yeah, we can pass it out for you.
Just pass it out. Yeah, we'll do it.
I'm almost back home here. So people often ask me before I start on this, like, you are back in the title and escrow business after all these years, and I spent years to develop a home staging business. Sorry.
That's okay.
Actually, they work hand in hand. They're both working on referrals, and they all come from that referral main pot of realtors. I do rely on all of you here to refer me out, and I really rely on the local businesses to supply me with those businesses as well. But they actually work hand in hand. So a stager and working for a title company as a marketing rep do work hand in hand. And I'll be working with someone and they'll be going, oh, I need a title report, or I need a staging. Oh, I'm so glad I saw you. So it's like this. It's a constant hand-to-hand kind of thing. So if you're wondering how that connects with years of developing a staging business and then back into the title business. So if you open up your first page of your preliminary title report, well, first let me tell you, a preliminary title report is signed and dated form report that sets out in detail the conditions of title on a specific parcel of land as the date stated therein. So starting with the first page, at the very top of your preliminary title report, it says today's date. And the dates on a preliminary title report are very important because that is showing the day that they started to go back and research that property from the very beginning. And they're bringing it forward to this date of March 1st. This is important because something generally takes 30 days for an escrow to go through the complete process. So you want to know the date that everything has been researched to at that point. Then the day of recording, they'll go back from this date forward to the date that you're actually reporting to make sure that nothing, no liens have been put on the property or anything like that, and you're moving forward, that you know exactly everything that has happened on that property from the very beginning. So that's why the date is important. Secondly, it goes to who is the proposed buyer, that's on there as well, the property address, and who's requesting the preliminary title report. And it generally comes from the realtor of the sales agent. So they're both on there, both the listing agent and the sales agent. Okay. So moving forward, or at the very end, is the title officer signs that report to as a point of reference. If anything comes up on that report, you know who to go back to, and then they can research their files as to if there is a question on it. There are two types of schedules on a preliminary title report. Schedule A is interest or estate in the land. So it's basically saying the type of estate, like most general one is a fee simple, which is the complete ownership of the land and home. And on Schedule A, on page 2, you'll see several different examples of how you can take title. And that is, number one, you want to see how they're taking title. Then it'll go on to say in that same Schedule A, after vesting will be Exhibit A, which is attached and made a part hereof. And that's referring to the land. And that'll be at the very end, and it'll be a full description of the property. Schedule B on page 3 then goes on to tell you about the exceptions to title. So there'll be taxes, number one, and the first thing up is we all know about property taxes. So the very first thing that shows up is what is due right now and has to be paid at this period. So all of this is laid out for you step by step. So first they have the what is due now. Then it'll go to 2, which shows you the taxes that will be up and coming on this property. Then it will show any assessments that are coming up due and payable at this time. Then it will go on to liens that are delinquent. So anything that has been filed on this property at all is picked up in your preliminary title report. Moving on, it also shows all local easements on the property. So there are water rights, there are going and coming rights of the county to go in and out of your property. So all of that has to be filed on that particular piece of property. An easement like to Sierra Pacific, so they have the right to come and go to address the power lines or whatever. They don't have to have any permission from the owner to do that. These are all different types of liens. Then you'll go down to number 13 on page 4, which is a deed of trust. This is very important, and it shows that the current owners have an outstanding deed of trust in the amount of $432,000. And so that's very important that the title company picks that up, and then they send off a demand to that bank and get a demand, so that will be paid off during the escrow. Moving on from the liens, then we do come to the CC&Rs. which is, it's a mistake.
What about the trustee's sale? That's important.
It's number 8 on page 4. The CC&Rs are a very important item, which are your covenants, conditions, and restrictions that are filed and recorded on that property. And a lot of people overlook this, and it is very important. It can be as simple as if you rent the property, that renter cannot have animals in the property. It can be as simple as you cannot park your car on the street in front of the property. People overlook this all the time, thinking, oh, this is not a big deal. It was just put on at the development of the property or whatever. Actually, it is a very big deal. And sometimes it can be, several inches thick. And we've actually had clients that want to read every single page of it. But it is very important information that you might find out after you own the property, something very important to you that if you would have known in the beginning would have moved you on to another piece of property. So we give the complete CC&Rs out with the preliminary title report so you can stay up on all of that. The deeds of trust we already covered. And then if the judgments, anything that is recorded on that property will show up on the preliminary title report. So if something, say for instance, the homeowner had some work done on the property, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, Dave, and you never got paid. And so you filed a lien against that homeowner. That has to be taken care of before that property can be moved on to other new ownership. So they're showing different examples of how that liens can be placed on the property. Even simple things like judgment for child support can show up on that property. Any kind of recorded document against the homeowner will show up on that property and has to be taken care of before they can exchange ownership. We move on to Exhibit A, which shows a complete legal description, and it breaks it down according to the different parcels on the property and shows exactly every inch of that description is laid out. And then on Schedule B, continue there, it's a legal description. And in my bio, we mentioned that I started out in the escrow business many years ago, but that's actually what I did, was take the metes and bounds of these descriptions. Back in the day when we did shorthand, I don't even know if you all know what shorthand is, but I would do like 3 legal pads a day of shorthand of legal descriptions of what you see right here. And it was very important that every little legal part of it, of the measurement, was accurate. If I had the wrong little shorthand figure there on it, I could change inches to, feet. So it was critical. So that's what I did for many years, and just being left-handed, shorthand was difficult. So I would go through legal pads like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, just a little tidbit of, not quite back to the 8th grade, but back a few years. And then the very last thing I have on there is your plat map, and it shows exactly where you are on the property, and it shows the exact measurements on that. So this is a complete preliminary title report that is given out at the beginning of an escrow, and it goes through the whole life of the property right before it's ready to exchange hands. Any questions on that?
What is...
Brett. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
What does fee simple mean on the first Schedule A?
Fee simple is just that you own the land and the home on the land. There are several different ways that you can own the land, but fee simple is the most common. But that just says that, yes, I own the land and I own the house on the land. you can own the house and not own the land.
Right.
So it can get very complicated from there, but fee simple is just that I own the land as well as the house on the land.
In the airspace.
Is a preliminary title report, is it public record? Is it something that somebody can request and review, even if they just want to rent a property, and they want to see the history of the property, what its value is, any issues?
It is not. What you would have, if you wanted that, if you rented the property or that, you would get a property profile. This is a document that is expensive for them to run it from beginning to end. And once you enter into escrow and one of the realtors bring it to us, then that's when that process starts. Even for a realtor, there is a cost involved if, you know, they just want to know. But a property profile will show it pretty accurately. Yes.
There are so many examples of title options.
Right.
What is the purpose of that, and who advises you which title to take?
Actually, the title company is not authorized to advise you, so you would want to get legal advice as to what fits you personally the best to protect you and your property. We do have different, we give you a schedule and show you different types with a brief explanation as to how you can take title, but we are not allowed by law to advise you. And we request that you get legal advice, which suits you, your particular purchase personally. Yes.
Derek.
Oh, sorry.
Do mineral and water rights appear in a title report?
Yes, they do. Yes. Anything that's a recorded lien against that property, whether it's just the utilities or whatever, everything that's on that property will show up on the property profile. Yes, that is correct.
This may just be general knowledge, but it's something I've been ignorant of, and I'm just kind of curious. Do title companies only work with physical properties, or can a title company also work with a possessions title, like a vehicle? Do they assist in acquiring a title, like a lost title for a vehicle, or is that something?
Okay. A title company is for land only, yes.
If you, like if you wanted to buy a property on auction, this seems like it would be super valuable information. Can you still go through, would you have to go through a realtor, or could you just go to the title company and get this information?
Well, again, Jim, you would probably start with a property profile, and then you would go to your title company, and the more homework you do on that property, but there is, sometimes you will, go to, yes, exactly. There'll be information on there, at the sale that you're not aware of. So, yes, you want to learn as much as you possibly can, and if you have a good relationship with the title company, they will help you through that process.
A lot of the liens and deed trusts, trust deeds, et cetera, mortgages, they're all public record, in that you can do this research yourself. It's
Yes.
really consuming, so it's understandable why this is expensive,
Higher.
but valuable. Because I've done this, the auction type things. Where,
Yeah,
but this, what you guys do is cool.
But sometimes it can be
It's hard to
missed.
read, though.
It is hard, and this is just, a lot of people go, I have no idea what you do. I don't do any of this. I just say, I go see nice people like Ken and Jeff and say, come and use us. We're a great company, and I'm here to service you with farms if you want to do any marketing as a realtor out. And Jeff and I have been working on that a lot as being a new realtor and trying to help him get business and develop a relationship with the realtors. So that's my part of it. But definitely you could call me, any of you could call me on any questions you have on it, and I certainly have the sources. Not always have the answer right away, but I have the sources to find the answers for you.
Okay, we're running a lot behind.
Oh.
Any other questions? No, it wasn't your fault. I started you way late. It's my fault. But that's okay. And by the way, Jeff and I will attest to this. Without our